This week, the Comelec reported to the House Committee on Electoral Reforms on their preparations for an automated elections in May 2016. Is there time? Is the process on schedule? And joining us tonight on NewsLife is Congressman Fredinel Castro, Chairman of the House Committee on Electoral Reforms and Suffrage. Good evening, sir. Welcome to NewsLife.
Good evening, Robert.
Now, sir, what's the latest report of the Comelec in the for next year's elections?
Notwithstanding that the timeline is already tight, but the committee was briefed by the chairman himself that notwithstanding the tight timeline, they can still work within the time left. And more importantly, I would like to advise that Comelec is still proceeding with its parallel course of action, which means that while it is entertaining the refurbishment of the old OMRs, it is also entertaining the lease of new OMRs. Comelec is now in the process of selecting which is best for the country, citing that a refurbishment of an old OMRs or old machines may be cheaper at this point in time, but in the long it will be expensive for the government because we do not know what to do with the old machines, and the cost of storage and maintenance is very costly.
Now, sir, with regards to the refurbishment of the 80,000 PCOS machines, has the Comelec began the bidding process on this one?
Yes, that's why I said the course of action is parallel, because while it is bidding the refurbishment, it is also bidding the list of new OMRs. And when time comes, depending on the advice given to the Comelec by all stakeholders, Comelec may either proceed with the refurbishment of the old OMRs or may proceed with the list of the new OMRs.
Now, you said there's parallel bidding, one with the refurbishment and one with the leasing. Now, how long is the process of this, and is there time before the election?
Yes, I think the bidding is almost over, and what is left is the post bidding procedure, like for example the awarding of the bids. Insofar as the list, I think this Saturday there is a bidding that will have to be conducted for the list of new OMRs. In brief, the Comelec is within its timeline.
Now, hypothetically, what if both fail? What happens next? What are the
there are options left. I hope, and I'm crossing my fingers that bidding will not fail.
Oh, yes, of course.
But in case of failure, there is an option left. One is direct contracting and negotiated contract, which are both allowed by law.
Now, you were saying a while ago that refurbishing for now would actually be cheaper than leasing, but in the long run will actually be more expensive. Now, when you say leasing, is it cheaper because, as you know, the change of technology as we see it now is very fast, and do you think it's wiser to actually do the leasing than the refurbishment?
Not only that, when you lease new OMRs, it is cheaper because it's a one-time expense. But when you refurbish the old OMRs, it's very expensive because, one, after a short while, you will not know how to dispose or how to make use of these old refurbished OMRs, which may not be advisable for the use in future elections. Second, you will have to content yourself with the expensive maintenance of the same. And also, it is very expensive to pay the storage because governments spend millions of pesos to pay for the storage of the machines.
Now, sir, there are some sectors that are whether you could actually do hybrid or actually go back to manual. Are these options also in play?
These options have already been discarded by the Commission on Election, because after the mock election of that patas, which is being espoused or introduced by one ex or former commissioner of the Comelec, we discovered that it is suffering from so many imperfections. But I would like to say, Robert, that in the future, the moment this machine or this technology of patas could be developed into something viable, and I am proud to have that as the next or the future election machine of this country, because it is purely Filipino.
Now, what is the deadline of the Comelec in terms of how long the process of the bidding will be for both refurbishing and the leasing, so as to have actually ample time by next year to actually refurbish these PCOS machines, which are 80,000, because we don't have that much time left?
As a whole, Comelec will be prepared for all exercises. Comelec will be prepared with all the collaterals needed in the preparation of the election this coming January of 2016. If ever that there are things left, this will only be things that are inconsequential.
And finally, so just veering away from the PCOS machines, just today, the President Aquino has endorsed DILG Secretary Rojas as the standard bearer for next year's elections. Now, you are in the same province as Secretary Rojas, but you are in a different party. Will you be supporting Secretary Rojas, or what are the next steps for you?
Well, first, I am going to wait for the party stand of my party, the National Unity Party. But personally, without considering the stand of the party, I believe that at this point in time, Secretary Rojas is the best choice, because he has the competence, he has the preparation, he is the most qualified, he is the most experienced, and most importantly, he has the integrity that everybody is looking for someone to become president of the country. And this integrity is has not been observed in a short while, but the Rojas family has already established a long track of integrity in the government service, starting from the time of his grandfather, the late Manuel Rojas, former president of the country, going to his father, the former Senate President of the country, Jerry Rojas, and until his brother, Dingoy Rojas. And during the time, he himself is imbued with the integrity necessary and is required by the country to lead this country to become president. Because all of them, from the grandfather up to the time of Secretary Rojas as a government servant, not one of them has been dragged into corruption scam or corruption scandal. And that makes the integrity very strong and a long track of integrity.
Now, having said that, sir, do you see a coalition, or do you see your party supporting Secretary Rojas on the presidency next year?
Well, it is not remote, because as I said, the party has not made its stand, and perhaps there will be talks in the future. But if there is no party stand, for sure, the National Party will allow its members to have an individual choice. And that's the time that each and every member of the National Unity Party will have his own qualifications to determine who his presidential would be.
Okay, on that note, thank you very much for joining us here tonight on NewsLife. That was Congressman Fredinel Castro, Chairman of the House Committee on Electoral Reforms and Suffrage. Thank you.